Hello there, and welcome. I'm really glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe your day felt long, or maybe it was quietly full, or perhaps you're simply someone who enjoys letting their thoughts drift through deep ideas instead of counting sheep. However you arrived, this moment is for you now. There's nowhere else you need to be, and nothing else you need to do. You can let the outside world soften and blur just for a while. As you settle in, you might notice your breathing beginning to slow, almost on its own. Your shoulders may loosen, your jaw unclench, your hands rest a little heavier. It can feel as if gravity itself has become gentler, less insistent, allowing your body to sink comfortably into whatever is holding you. There's no need to change anything deliberately. Simply noticing is enough. Tonight, we're going to wander through galaxies, not as charts or equations, not as something to understand or memorize, but as distant companions drifting quietly in the dark. Galaxies are old, patient things. They've been moving slowly for ages beyond counting, glowing softly, asking nothing of anyone. You don't need to picture them clearly. You don't need to hold on to details. You can simply let the words pass by like a calm night breeze. This isn't a lesson. It isn't a test. There won't be anything to remember later. Think of this as stepping into a quiet observatory after hours, when the lights are low and the doors are closed, and the only sound is your own breathing. We're just going to look outward together, slowly, gently, without expectation. If it feels comfortable, you might lower the volume just a little, enough that my voice becomes part of the background rather than the focus. If sleep arrives halfway through a thought, that's perfectly fine. You won't miss anything important. The galaxies will still be there, moving just as slowly, whether you're awake to hear about them or not. And if, on another night, you happen to remember this space and feel like returning, you'll always be welcome. You might choose to subscribe or come back tomorrow or another evening when rest feels far away. But none of that matters right now. Right now, rest comes first. So let your attention widen, then soften. Imagine the vastness of the universe, not as something overwhelming, but as something spacious and calm. Within that wide darkness, galaxies drift like lanterns on a quiet sea, far apart, unhurried, glowing gently. And as we begin, we'll move closer, slowly, to the first simple idea, letting everything else fade into the background, as if the night itself is leaning in to listen with you. If you could drift far enough into space, far beyond the glow of any single star, galaxies might begin to feel like distant islands of light. They gather countless stars, soft clouds of gas, and fine dust into enormous, glowing shapes, all surrounded by deep darkness. From afar, each galaxy is like a quiet village, seen at night from above the ocean, its light steady and calm. They don't shout for attention or rush toward one another. They simply exist, floating patiently in a vast cosmic sea, separated by long stretches of silence. There's a peaceful kind of solitude in that image, not loneliness, just space and stillness, as if each island of light is perfectly content where it is, glowing gently in the dark. When scientists try to count how many of these islands exist, the numbers begin to soften and blur. Even the most powerful telescopes can only offer careful guesses, suggesting that there may be trillions of galaxies spread throughout the observable universe. The idea of counting them is a bit like trying to number grains of sand on a quiet beach at night. Eventually, the exact total stops mattering. What remains is a feeling of abundance, of a universe so wide and spacious that it never feels empty. The sky becomes too large to finish counting, and that's okay. There's comfort in knowing that the universe holds more than we can neatly measure. With so many galaxies scattered through space, it's natural that they appear in many different forms. Some take on graceful spirals, others gather into smooth, rounded clouds of light, and some seem irregular, as if painted freely across the darkness. These shapes aren't rigid categories, so much as gentle tendencies. Like brushstrokes on a black canvas, each galaxy follows its own quiet pattern. Some resemble slow pinwheels, others look like soft fog glowing faintly from within. There's no need to label them precisely. Their shapes are simply expressions of long, patient motion. Among these forms, spiral galaxies often feel the most familiar and soothing. They turn slowly, arms curving outward, in a motion so gradual it's almost impossible to sense. A spiral galaxy doesn't rush its movement. One full rotation can take hundreds of millions of years, making the motion feel less like spinning and more like breathing. It's a calm, steady rhythm, like a music box turning endlessly without ever winding down, or a clock that has no urgency to mark the hours. On this timescale, human worries seem very small and light, easy to set down. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is one of these slow spirals. When you see it faintly stretching across a dark night sky, it appears as a pale, glowing river of light. From within, it feels less like a grand structure and more like a quiet neighborhood made of stars. The Milky Way holds hundreds of billions of suns, yet there's nothing demanding about it. Earth isn't at the center of anything special. It's simply included, comfortably tucked into the spiral, part of the soft glow, rather than the focus of it. In fact, we live far from the bustling center of the Milky Way, out along one of its gentle arms. Our solar system sits in a region that could be compared to a peaceful suburb, away from the crowded brightness of the galactic core. It's a calm shoreline rather than a busy city center, a place where distances are wide and movement is unhurried. There's something reassuring about that. Distance from the center doesn't mean isolation. It means quiet, space, and safety, a gentle place to exist while the galaxy slowly turns around us. Nothing ties a galaxy together with ropes or walls. There are no edges you could bump into, no barriers holding stars in place. Galaxies stay whole because of gravity, a quiet force that never sleeps. It doesn't shout or pull sharply. Instead, it acts like an invisible embrace, a soft hand gently gathering drifting lights and keeping them close over enormous distances. Gravity works patiently over very long stretches of time, allowing stars to move freely while still belonging to something larger. It's less like a tug and more like a lullaby, steady and reassuring, keeping everything balanced without effort or urgency. And yet, there is more holding galaxies together than meets the eye. Most of a galaxy cannot be seen at all. Astronomers have learned that much of its mass comes from something called dark matter, an unseen presence revealed only through its gentle gravitational influence. You can imagine it like a hidden scaffolding, or the wind that shapes sand dunes without ever being visible itself. Dark matter forms an invisible framework beneath the soft glow of stars, quietly guiding their motion. There's mystery here, but no threat. It's simply another quiet layer of the universe, doing its work without needing to be understood. What we do see most clearly are the stars themselves. Each galaxy is a gathering of countless stars, glowing together like a distant city seen at night. From far away, their combined light looks smooth and gentle, but within it are billions of individual points, each burning slowly in its own way. They're like campfires scattered across a vast plain, or candles spread through a dark room, offering warmth rather than glare. Thinking of them this way makes the scale feel softer, less overwhelming, more like abundance than excess. Inside galaxies, new stars are always being born. They begin not with flashes or explosions, but quietly, inside immense clouds of gas and dust called nebulae. These clouds drift and breathe, slowly gathering themselves over long periods of time. Bit by bit, the mist thickens, warms, and begins to glow. Starbirth is gentle and patient, more like a slow dawn than a sudden spark. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is loud. It's a calm process, unfolding deep within the galaxy's arms. At the same time, not every corner of a galaxy is active. Much of it is calm and settled, filled with older stars that change very little over long ages. These regions are like quiet suburbs at night, with empty roads under soft streetlights and houses that have stood for generations. There's comfort in that stillness. Just as people seek out peaceful places to rest, galaxies seem to hold wide areas where very little happens. And that quiet is part of their balance. Over immense spans of time, galaxies themselves slowly change. They are not frozen in place. Like weathered stone or a river gently reshaping its path, their structures evolve over billions of years. The changes are so gradual, they're almost imperceptible, unfolding across long seasons without urgency. Nothing in a galaxy hurries toward the future. Everything moves at a pace that allows patience to settle in, preparing the way for gentle encounters and drifting meetings yet to come. Galaxies are not fixed in place. Across the vastness of space, they drift slowly, guided by gravity over immense distances. Their movement isn't sudden or forceful. It's more like boats drifting on a calm sea, or leaves floating toward one another on still water. Over millions and billions of years, these gentle motions bring galaxies gradually closer together. There's no sense of urgency in their approach, no rush to arrive. The universe allows plenty of time for these meetings to unfold, letting them happen so slowly that they feel almost like destiny rather than motion. When galaxies finally meet, the experience is nothing like a crash. A galaxy collision is soft and patient, unfolding over long stretches of time. Even then, most stars pass by one another without ever touching. Space within galaxies is vast, leaving plenty of room for everything to drift through. It's like ghosts passing quietly through a room, or mist blending gently with mist. Two clouds overlap, mingle, and continue on. There is very little violence in these encounters. Instead, there's a sense of calm interaction where enormous structures pass through one another with grace. Although these meetings are gentle, they can still leave lasting impressions. After galaxies meet, they often change. Their combined gravity reshapes them slowly, drawing stars into new paths and creating different forms. Imagine clay pressed together carefully, or paint colors blending softly on a canvas. Nothing is destroyed in the process. Everything is rearranged. The motion can feel like a long dance that eventually settles into stillness, leaving behind a new shape that carries traces of both partners. Transformation here is quiet and patient, without loss or harm. Some of the largest and most ancient galaxies we see today were formed through these slow mergers. Elliptical galaxies, in particular, are often enormous and composed mostly of older stars. They feel like the elders of the universe, calm and dignified. You might picture them as ancient cities or weathered mountains, shaped by time rather than urgency. Their light is smooth and steady, without sharp features or dramatic motion. Age, in this context, doesn't mean decay. It means stability, experience, and long-earned quiet. Even within these vast, ancient galaxies, there is often a surprising sense of calm at the center. Despite activity elsewhere, many galactic cores remain stable for incredibly long periods. At the heart of a galaxy, there can be a stillness, like a quiet town square at night, or a steady heartbeat that never rushes. It's a place of balance, where surrounding motion seems to orbit peacefully around a central calm. Activity and tranquility coexist, each giving shape to the other. At the center of many galaxies rests something unseen, a supermassive black hole. Despite their dramatic reputation, these black holes are usually quiet and distant, acting more like anchors than threats. They can be imagined as deep wells or still points in a turning world, holding the galaxy together through gravity rather than chaos. There's no need for fear here. These central presences are calm, stabilizing influences, patiently shaping their galaxies over vast spans of time, waiting quietly as the universe continues its slow, gentle motion. When you look at a galaxy in the night sky, you're quietly looking into the past. The light reaching your eyes tonight began its journey long ago, traveling patiently across vast stretches of space. It's like an old postcard finally arriving after drifting across a dark ocean, carrying a message written millions or even billions of years earlier. This delay isn't something to worry about. There's nothing urgent in it. The light was never in a hurry to arrive. It simply moved forward, moment by moment, until it gently found its way to you. In space, distance and time are closely woven together. Astronomers often measure how far away a galaxy is by how long its light has been traveling. Instead of miles or kilometers, they count years. Light becomes a kind of measuring tape, and time stretches itself into distance. This idea doesn't need to feel technical or confusing. You can imagine time itself lengthening calmly, like a soft ribbon laid out across the darkness, marking how far something has drifted. Because of this, some galaxies are so distant that they appear as they once were, long before our own world existed. The farther we look, the older the light becomes. These galaxies can feel like childhood photographs of the universe, moments preserved gently in glow. Their light reaches us like a faded lantern, still warm, still present, even after so much time has passed. There's a quiet sense of nostalgia in that, a reminder that the universe holds memories without needing to recall them actively. To see these faint, ancient lights, telescopes wait patiently. They don't rush light or demand it arrive faster. Instead, they gather it slowly, like cups filling with starlight drop by drop. Telescopes are calm listeners, collecting whispers from across space and focusing them gently. There's something soothing about that image. Machines designed not for force, but for patience, allowing distant galaxies to reveal themselves at their own pace. With enough waiting, more details begin to appear. Long observations allow faint structures to emerge, the way your eyes slowly adjust to darkness. At first, you may see very little, but over time, shapes and patterns grow clearer. Galaxies reveal themselves gradually, rewarding stillness and patience. Some beauty only appears if you're willing to wait without expectation, letting your vision soften. As these details emerge, color becomes part of the story. A galaxy's hues are like a soft language, spoken in blues and reds, and gentle transitions between them. These colors whisper quiet stories about warmth and coolness, youth and age, like spring buds and autumn leaves sharing the same branch. There's no need to analyze them closely. You can simply feel them, letting the colors wash over your thoughts like a calm, shifting glow. Galaxies don't sparkle the way single stars do. Instead, their light is spread thin and gentle, created by countless stars glowing together. The result is a soft shine rather than a sharp brilliance, like light filtered through a lampshade or frosted glass. From a distance, galaxies resemble quiet city lights seen from far away, steady and muted. There's nothing harsh or blinding about them. Their glow feels welcoming, as if it was meant to be observed calmly, without strain. Inside these glowing structures, stars move with the same gentle quality. They drift along familiar paths, orbiting the galactic center in slow, predictable motion. It's like watching dancers move through a routine they've practiced for ages, or a carousel turning endlessly without ever speeding up. Stars follow these paths over immense timescales, and that stability brings a sense of comfort. Nothing suddenly changes direction. Nothing jolts or surprises. These motions help shape the graceful spiral arms seen in some galaxies. But spiral arms aren't solid trails or fixed roads. They're patterns, like ripples traveling through water or waves of traffic moving along a highway. Stars pass through these regions rather than belonging to them. The arms are expressions of flow, not rigid structures. Thinking of them this way makes everything feel more fluid, less confined. As stars continue their journeys, they wander in and out of spiral arms over long periods of time. A star doesn't belong to one arm forever. It drifts gently between regions, like walking through fog or passing through different seasons. There's no sense of loss in this movement. Impermanence here is calm and natural, part of the larger rhythm that guides everything. Not all galaxies follow neat patterns at all. Some have no clear shape, appearing irregular and abstract. These galaxies can look like ink spilled into water or soft chaos frozen in motion. Rather than feeling disordered, they carry a peaceful kind of imperfection, as if the universe allowed itself a moment of free expression. There's no requirement for symmetry or balance. They are complete just as they are. Alongside these larger galaxies, smaller ones drift quietly. Dwarf galaxies are modest and faint, often orbiting bigger companions like fireflies near lanterns or small boats beside ships. They don't dominate the view, but their presence adds a sense of companionship. Even in the vastness of space, nothing feels truly alone. Everything moves together, gently sharing the quiet. You might notice right now that there's nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to go, no thought you need to hold on to. It can feel as if you're floating without effort, supported completely, like resting on warm water beneath a wide night sky. Above you, stars pass slowly, unhurried, one after another, while your breathing finds an easy rhythm of its own. In and out, slow and steady. There's no need to remember anything you've heard so far. The words can drift past, just like the light. And when you're ready, or even if you're not, you can gently bring your attention back, as if opening your eyes to find another quiet galaxy waiting patiently in the dark. Inside galaxies, there are stars with their own small worlds. Galaxies are not empty spaces, but places of quiet complexity, where countless systems may exist side by side. You can imagine them like homes within neighborhoods, or lamps with small companions circling nearby. These planetary systems don't need to be confirmed or counted tonight. It's enough to know that galaxies have room for subtle detail, for quiet arrangements within vast halls of space. Possibility itself becomes soothing when it's allowed to remain open and gentle. Most stars within these galaxies are not dramatic. Many burn slowly and steadily for billions of years, like embers rather than roaring flames. They resemble candles that burn through the entire night without flickering or rushing to go out. Their light is patient and reliable, a slow, steady heartbeat that continues without interruption. There's comfort in that endurance, in knowing that much of the universe prefers calm consistency over sudden change. Within a single galaxy, stars of many ages exist together. Young stars shine brightly beside older ones that have been glowing for ages beyond memory. It's like generations living together in the same quiet neighborhood, where ancient trees stand near new saplings. Time here feels layered rather than linear. The past doesn't disappear when something new arrives. Everything simply coexists. sharing the same gentle space. Galaxies also carry quiet memories of their past, not through words or images, but through motion and structure. Their shapes hold echoes of long ago meetings, like ripples that remain after a stone has been dropped into water. You might think of wrinkles in fabric or fading echoes in a large room. These memories aren't emotional or heavy. They're just traces, softly preserved, telling stories without needing to be told aloud. Astronomers study galaxies the way someone might read a very long novel. They don't rush from page to page. Instead, they look for patterns, returning themes, and slow changes over time. Galaxies aren't understood all at once. Their stories unfold gradually, like watching seasons pass year after year. Patience becomes not just a method, but a way of listening. On the largest scales, galaxies are slowly moving away from one another. Space itself is quietly expanding, stretching gently like dots on an inflating balloon, or leaves drifting farther apart on still water. This movement doesn't need to feel lonely. Instead, it creates more breathing room, more spaciousness. The universe isn't pulling things apart in a hurry. It's simply making space, calmly and endlessly, allowing everything to drift with ease. Between galaxies lies a great quiet. Most of the universe is not filled with stars or glowing clouds, but with wide stretches of empty space. These vast distances feel like long pauses between musical notes or endless snowfields under a pale sky. There's a deep calm in that emptiness, not loneliness, but room to breathe. It's the silence between heartbeats, gentle and necessary, allowing everything else to exist without crowding. Nothing much stirs in these spaces between galaxies. Intergalactic space is calm and cold, holding very little matter or energy. You might imagine a quiet winter night where even sound feels frozen, or the stillness of breath fogging gently in unmoving air. Motion seems paused here, as if the universe itself is resting. This cold and stillness aren't uncomfortable. They feel like a place where nothing is required to happen. Against this wide quiet, galaxies stand out as oases. They are like campfires glowing softly in the dark, or small towns surrounded by wilderness. Compared to the emptiness around them, galaxies feel warm and active, yet still calm. Their light gathers gently, creating pockets of motion and life within an otherwise silent expanse. It's a balanced contrast where activity exists without disturbing the peace. Galaxies also tend to gather together. They are rarely completely alone, often forming small groups or clusters bound by gravity. These clusters resemble villages or families of lights, close enough to feel connected, but not crowded. From a distance, they can look like constellations made not of stars, but of entire galaxies, quietly keeping each other company. On even larger scales, these clusters trace vast cosmic webs. Galaxies line up along faint threads stretching across space, like dew clinging to spider silk or delicate strands of cosmic lace. The structure feels organic rather than rigid, as if the universe grew this pattern naturally, without forcing it into shape. Everything is connected, but loosely, with plenty of freedom in between. And most of the universe lies in those spaces between the threads. Between the strands of the cosmic web are enormous voids, wide and quiet. They're like open fields between hedges, blank pages between chapters, or deep breaths between thoughts. These voids aren't empty in a troubling way. They are restful, offering space for stillness to settle in before the next gentle idea appears. Over very long periods, some galaxies begin to appear fainter. As stars age and new ones form less often, the overall light softens. Their glow can resemble embers slowly dimming, or a room settling into dusk as evening arrives. This fading isn't something to mourn. It's a natural part of the universe's rhythm, a gentle quieting rather than an ending. Not all galaxies fade at the same pace. Some, especially spirals, continue forming new stars for a very long time. They are like hearths that stay warm through the night, renewing themselves slowly and steadily. Star formation continues with the calm rhythm of breathing, in and out, without urgency. These galaxies remain quietly creative, glowing patiently far into the future. Eventually, though, galaxies can run low on the gas needed to form new stars. Over immense spans of time, their resources settle and thin. You might picture a well slowly lowering or summer giving way to autumn. Nothing dramatic happens. The change is gradual and expected, part of a larger cycle that unfolds without resistance. As this happens, older galaxies often settle into long periods of stability. With little new star formation, they become calm and unchanging, like quiet afternoons or peaceful evenings that stretch on comfortably. This stillness isn't emptiness. It's fulfillment, a state where nothing needs to be added or taken away. All of these changes happen over enormous timescales. Galaxies never hurry. Their evolution is more like mountains forming or continents drifting, shaped by deep time rather than sudden motion. There's a quiet relief in knowing that nothing important in the universe is rushed. On this scale, a human lifetime is just a brief moment. On a galactic clock, it's like a spark or a single note in a very long song. That doesn't make it insignificant. It makes it gentle. There's nothing you need to hurry through tonight. The universe has all the time it needs. And so, for now, do you. You might begin to notice that time doesn't feel so sharp anymore. It can feel as if a clock is dissolving into mist, its edges fading until there's nothing left to follow. There's nothing to catch up on. Nothing is late. Stars overhead are moving far too slowly to notice, and your own breathing can stretch into longer, quieter pauses. In and out, with space in between. You don't need to listen closely now. Half listening is more than enough. The words can soften, blur, even fade. Galaxies will continue quietly whether or not we pay attention. And the next gentle thought is already waiting, patient and unhurried. Most black holes are not dramatic. Despite their name, supermassive black holes at the centers of galaxies are usually calm and inactive. They don't constantly pull things in or disturb their surroundings. Instead, they rest quietly, like still ponds or deep wells, exerting a steady influence without motion or noise. You might imagine a sleeping giant, powerful but peaceful, holding its place at the heart of the galaxy. There's nothing frightening about this stillness. It's balanced and contained, a quiet presence rather than a force in action. From time to time, a galaxy's center does brighten. Occasionally, material drifts inward toward the black hole, and as it does, the region can glow more strongly. This isn't an explosion or a violent event. It's more like a hearth briefly flaring or a lantern turned slightly higher. The light becomes warmer and brighter for a while, radiating softly before settling again. Even at its most active, the process remains controlled and gradual, guided by long, patient forces. What happens at the center doesn't stay there. Energy released near a galactic core can travel outward, influencing regions far away. It spreads like ripples across water, or warmth radiating gently from a fire. The movement is slow and even, filling space without rushing. You can imagine it as a low hum slowly filling a large room, touching everything quietly before fading into the background. After these active periods, galaxies often return to calm. They rest far more than they act. Like a storm passing into clear skies or an exhalation after effort, stillness follows naturally. Evening arrives after a busy day, and the universe settles back into its preferred state of quiet. Rest, not action, is the dominant rhythm on these scales. Balance is common throughout galactic systems. Gravity, motion, and energy tend to settle into long-term equilibrium. It's like a mobile hanging perfectly still, or stones resting comfortably in a riverbed. There's a steady breath to it all, a sense that things have found where they belong. This balance isn't rigid. It's gentle and forgiving, allowing small changes without losing overall calm. From Earth, we observe all of this from a very quiet place. Our position in the galaxy is peaceful, like watching rain from indoors or sitting at a window seat as lights glow in the distance. We can look outward without urgency or danger. There's no need for importance here, only a quiet sense of gratitude. From this calm corner of the universe, it's safe to simply watch, and then, when you're ready, to rest. Galaxies don't ask anything of us. They don't judge our lives or measure our importance. They simply exist, and we observe. Standing beneath a wide sky or looking out to sea can bring a similar feeling, a quiet viewpoint where worries shrink without being dismissed. Perspective here isn't about feeling small or large. It's about relief. The universe doesn't compare. It doesn't rank. It offers a calm backdrop where everything is allowed to be exactly as it is, without pressure to matter more or less than anything else. Most galaxies were already shining long before Earth formed. The universe was old when our planet was young, like a library full of books already resting on shelves when we first walked in. These galaxies are like long-standing mountains or lights that were already on when we arrived. There's no rush in this realization. We didn't arrive late. We simply joined something that was already calm, already moving slowly, already complete in its own way. And galaxies will continue long after human time has passed. They flow onward like rivers moving past countless generations, or seasons repeating without effort. Civilizations rise and fall quietly beneath their glow, while the galaxies themselves remain. This continuity doesn't erase anything that came before. It simply carries it forward, gently, without needing to pause or conclude. Galaxies also exist whether we watch them or not. They don't perform for observers. Like mountains at night or snow falling in empty fields, they continue quietly, unseen and unchanged. There's a deep freedom in that idea. Nothing depends on attention. Nothing needs to be noticed to be real. The universe carries on, calmly indifferent, and that indifference can feel like permission to let go. Because of this, observing galaxies becomes a slow, patient practice. To understand them, you wait. You sit quietly, like watching a candle burn or waiting for dawn without checking the time. They reward patience, not speed. Observation itself becomes restful, less about gathering answers and more about learning how to be still. High above Earth, space telescopes drift quietly along their paths. They move without sound, like slow circling birds or gentle guardians. They watch patiently, never intruding, simply listening to the light that arrives. Their presence feels calm and respectful, reminding us that curiosity doesn't have to be urgent. Galaxies don't give final answers. Instead, they invite gentle wondering. They are like open doors, unfinished songs, or paths that fade softly into mist. You're not expected to reach the end. Curiosity here doesn't demand resolution. It simply opens space for quiet thought, allowing questions to exist without needing to be closed. There is still so much we don't know about galaxies. Despite centuries of observation, many mysteries remain, resting like blank pages or foggy horizons. Galaxies keep their secrets softly, without drama. The unknown doesn't have to feel unsettling. It can feel spacious, like soft shadows that don't need to be chased away. Not knowing can be comfortable. The universe doesn't ask us to understand everything. It's okay to rest inside uncertainty, to pause in the middle of a thought, to take a deep breath without finishing a sentence. Understanding doesn't have to arrive tonight. You can float gently without direction, trusting that nothing is missing. In this way, galaxies become a quiet backdrop to existence. They don't demand attention. They glow softly in the distance, like wallpaper you don't need to study, or the low hum of a city far away at night. Their presence is steady and reassuring, always there, never insistent. Thinking about galaxies can naturally slow the mind. As thoughts widen, they soften. Urgency begins to dissolve, like waves evening out after wind passes. Breathing can slow. Mental noise can spread out until it becomes quiet space. There's no claim here, just a simple experience many people notice when their thoughts stretch far enough. And in the end, galaxies are best thought of gently. You don't need to hold on to these ideas or analyze them closely. Let them pass like water through your fingers, slightly felt and then gone. Soft focus is enough. Release is enough. You can let yourself be held now. as if a soft blanket of darkness is gently settling around you, tucking in every edge of thought. The universe feels as though it's breathing slowly, expanding and relaxing with each long pause. Stars remain like distant nightlights, steady and reassuring, needing nothing from you. Sleep can arrive at any moment, and if it does, that's perfectly fine. You don't need to stay with every word. My voice can fade into the background, becoming just another quiet sound in the night. Galaxies will continue their calm existence through these hours, whether we are awake to notice them or already drifting peacefully into rest. Galaxies don't notice when night falls on Earth. They shine through every hour, unchanged by sunrise or sunset, like lighthouses that never turn off or clocks without hands. Their glow is steady and constant, offering a sense of continuity that doesn't depend on time as we experience it. This constancy can feel comforting, especially at night, when everything else seems to slow down. While the world around you shifts into darkness, galaxies remain exactly as they were, patiently glowing far beyond the reach of day and night. For all of human history, galaxies have been companions of the night. Every generation has looked up beneath the same sky, gathered around ancient fires or quiet homes, sharing moments of stillness under distant stars. Galaxies have watched countless nights pass, unchanged by language, borders, or eras. There's something grounding in knowing that this quiet view has always been there, linking one night to another across time, offering the same calm presence to those who paused to look upward. In truly dark skies, the Milky Way reveals itself as a faint, cloudy band stretching overhead. It looks less like individual stars and more like a misty river flowing through the darkness. Some describe it as chalk softly smudged across black paper, or a pale ribbon draped gently across the sky. Its beauty is subtle, not demanding attention, inviting slow looking rather than awe. It's the kind of sight that rewards stillness, revealing itself only when everything else grows quiet. In many places today, city lights make it harder to see this distant glow. Artificial light draws curtains across the sky, dimming the faintest stars and galaxies. It can feel like mist over a window, softening and blurring what lies beyond. But galaxies are still there, just hidden from view. They haven't gone anywhere. Their light continues its journey, reaching Earth whether we notice it or not, waiting patiently beyond the glow of streetlights. Even when unseen, galaxies still exist. Visibility doesn't determine presence. Like stars behind clouds, or a song playing in another room, they remain whether we can see them clearly or not. Wind moves without being seen, and galaxies glow the same way, quietly and reliably. There's reassurance in that idea, knowing that existence doesn't depend on observation or proof. Things can simply be without needing to announce themselves. And sometimes, imagining galaxies is enough. You don't need to see them to feel their calm presence. With your eyes closed, the sky can exist within your thoughts. A soft inner starlight forming gentle shapes. Images may blur and drift, becoming dreamlike, less defined. That's perfectly fine. You can let those imagined galaxies fade and blend into sleep, carrying their quiet comfort with you as rest settles in. Galaxies don't ask to be noticed in order to be beautiful. Their beauty exists quietly on its own, whether anyone is watching or not. Like flowers blooming unseen in a distant meadow, or snow falling softly in the middle of the night, galaxies don't require attention, understanding, or appreciation to glow. They simply are. There's a gentle relief in that thought, a release from the need to focus or evaluate. Nothing is lost if you're not paying close attention. Beauty continues calmly, without effort, without witnesses. You don't have to remember any of this. Galaxy thoughts can drift in and out the same way clouds move across the sky, or leaves float on water. Ideas can arrive, linger briefly, and then pass on without needing to be held. Your breath already does this naturally, moving in and out without instruction. In the same way, these thoughts can come and go freely. Forgetting isn't a failure here. It's part of the softness. You don't need clarity right now. The mind doesn't need sharp focus to wander the cosmos. Even with half-closed eyes and unfocused attention, imagination can drift very far. A distant hum, low light, and blurred thoughts are more than enough. In fact, this softened state makes it easier to wander gently, without effort or direction, letting ideas blend together rather than stand apart. Sometimes, galaxies follow us into dreams. Their shapes soften, their light melts, and what was once a clear image becomes part of a story without words. Stars dissolve into sleep, turning into slow-moving patterns and gentle impressions. Light becomes feeling. Shape becomes motion. Nothing needs to stay defined. This blending is natural, a smooth transition from waking thought into rest. You don't need to stay awake for the universe. While you rest, cosmic processes continue quietly, just as tides move at night and wind passes through trees without being noticed. Clocks tick unheard, stars orbit, galaxies drift. Everything carries on gently without requiring your presence. There's no duty to observe or understand any of it. The universe asks nothing of you. You don't need to maintain it, solve it, or keep it running. You can rest completely, letting yourself be carried, floating effortlessly, releasing every remaining sense of responsibility. Everything is already taken care of. Galaxies are among the most stable structures known. They persist for billions of years, holding their shapes through immense stretches of time. You might imagine ancient stones that have weathered countless seasons, or old trees rooted deeply into the ground, steady and unmoving. Galaxies feel like steady horizons, always there, offering reassurance through their endurance. Stability like this doesn't need to prove itself. It simply remains. Even when galaxies change, that change comes gently. Their evolution follows slow, predictable patterns, like seasons cycling from one to the next, or tides rising and falling without surprise. Nothing shifts suddenly. Nothing jerks or snaps. The universe prefers gradual movement, allowing change to feel familiar rather than disruptive. There's comfort in knowing that even transformation unfolds calmly. Despite dramatic stories we sometimes hear, the universe has been calm far longer than it has ever been violent. Long nights are interrupted only briefly by storms. Calm seas stretch on between waves. Silence fills most of the space between sounds. Stillness, not chaos, is the dominant state. This history of calm can feel reassuring, a reminder that quiet is the universe's natural condition. From Earth, the universe is distant and safe. Everything dramatic happens far away, like thunder heard from the horizon or fireworks watched from a hill. From here, the cosmos feels quiet, removed, and gentle. Distance becomes a form of protection, allowing us to observe without fear or urgency. The night sky holds its wonders at a comfortable remove. You won't miss anything by sleeping. You're free to rest while the cosmos turns. It's like leaving a watchful friend on duty, knowing the lights will stay on and the world will keep moving until morning arrives. The universe doesn't need you to stay awake. It will wait. Even the universe rests. Stillness belongs everywhere. Night follows day. Winter fields lie quietly beneath the snow. Music breathes through pauses as much as sound. Rest isn't separate from the universe's rhythm. It's part of it. And now, it's your turn to rest as well. Galaxies have never been in a hurry. Urgency simply doesn't exist at this scale. They move the way a river moves, when it has no destination to reach, or like a walk taken with no schedule and no reason to arrive anywhere in particular. There are no deadlines written into the stars, no moments that must be rushed toward or avoided. Everything unfolds at a pace so slow it feels almost like stillness. Letting yourself notice this can gently loosen your own sense of hurry, allowing it to fade without effort. There is nothing urgent happening in the universe right now, nothing that needs immediate attention, correction, or response. Cosmic processes unfold without alarms or reminders, like letters that don't need replies or a phone left quietly on silent. Tasks at this scale can wait forever, and so can everything else for the moment. You're not falling behind. Nothing is piling up. The universe is completely comfortable with waiting. You are not needed to keep things going. Galaxies continue perfectly without human thought. Just as weather moves through the night and plants grow unseen in the dark. Tides rise and fall at dawn, whether anyone is watching or not. The universe doesn't rely on awareness or concern. It carries itself gently forward, independent and steady. There's freedom in knowing that nothing depends on your attention right now. Trusting the universe can feel like floating. Letting go mentally is like resting on warm water, supported without effort. Nothing is pulling you down. Nothing is asking you to swim or hold yourself up. You're simply carried, rocked slowly by rhythms that existed long before you noticed them. This kind of surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means being held. Sleep itself aligns you with these cosmic rhythms. Rest mirrors patterns found everywhere. Tides rising and falling. Day turning into night. Breath moving in cycles without thought. Sleep isn't an escape from the universe. It's a way of moving in harmony with it, letting your own rhythm soften until it matches the wider, quieter motion around you. You don't need to understand everything. Letting go is a form of understanding all on its own. Like opening your hands or setting something down after carrying it for too long, release can be enough. Thoughts don't need conclusions tonight. Exhaling fully is wisdom enough. The universe will still be here when you wake. Nothing important will change while you sleep. It's as if a watchful night guard has taken over, keeping the lights on and the world gently turning until morning arrives. Dawn waits patiently, without tapping its foot. You won't miss anything. Everything will continue exactly as it should. You are allowed to stop thinking now. There's nothing left to consider, solve, or plan. It can feel like lights dimming in a familiar room, curtains closing softly, silence settling without resistance. This permission doesn't need to be earned. It's already given. Thoughts can slow, then pause, then drift away entirely. As sleep approaches, galaxies fade beautifully in the mind. They don't need to stay sharp or defined. Stars dissolve into mist. Shapes blur. Light dims. What once felt vast becomes soft and indistinct, like an image seen through half-closed eyes. This blurring isn't loss. It's comfort, a gentle easing from form into feeling. Awareness is not required. The universe continues whether or not anyone is paying attention. Music can play in an empty room. Wind moves trees without witnesses. Rain falls unseen. Everything carries on quietly, reliably, without needing acknowledgement. You can let vigilance fade. Nothing needs to be monitored. Falling asleep is not missing out. Sleep is not leaving. It's becoming part of the night, like stepping into a quiet room where everything already belongs. Rest is participation, not absence. You're joining the rhythm rather than stepping away from it. The night holds everything gently, like a cradle or a soft envelope. Darkness gathers rest, safety, and stillness together. Nothing is falling. Nothing is slipping away. Everything is held. And within that gentle holding, you're free to drift completely, letting the universe keep watch as you rest. Galaxies are not going anywhere in particular. There is no final chapter written for them, no destination waiting at the end of their movement. They continue the way a river continues, without a finish line, or like a road that slowly fades into fog. You could walk along it without ever needing to arrive. Moment follows moment, gently, without aiming for a conclusion. When endings are removed, there's nothing to brace for. Only continuation remains, calm and steady. The universe is comfortable with that continuation. It doesn't seek closure or resolution. It exists the way a song exists when it never needs to end, or a night that blends so softly into morning you barely notice the change. Breathing happens without counting. One moment becomes the next without effort. Incompleteness isn't a problem here. It's a resting place where nothing insists on being wrapped up neatly. You don't need to finish this thought. Thoughts can trail off mid-sentence, like a book left open on a bedside table or a light turned down but not fully off. There's no requirement to reach the end of an idea before sleep arrives. You can drift away right in the middle, letting the rest remain unfinished. Nothing is lost by doing so. The unfinished can wait quietly, without calling you back. You don't need to hold anything now. The universe is holding the rest. It carries galaxies, stars, and quiet spaces without strain, and it can carry you too. Imagine being supported from below, floating safely with no effort required to stay where you are. Hands unseen, steady and gentle. Take over completely. There's nothing left to analyze, nothing to manage. Everything that remains is already being held. And so, everything can stay just as it is. The universe is calm. The night is steady. You are safe. There was nothing you needed to do here, nothing you were meant to accomplish. If your thoughts have already drifted away, that's perfectly fine. If you remember only fragments or nothing at all, that's fine too. Memory isn't required. Attention isn't required. Simply being here for a moment was enough. You may already be sleeping or hovering gently on the edge of it, where words soften and meaning becomes less important. Stars continue to dim into a background glow. Galaxies keep drifting quietly, without narration, without needing to be named. They've been doing this for a very long time, and they'll keep doing it, Bunny, after this voice fades. Nothing changes because you rest. Everything continues because rest is part of the pattern. If sleep hasn't arrived yet, there's no need to invite it. It knows where you are. It can come when it's ready. You don't need to meet it halfway. You can simply lie still and let the night do what it does best, gathering everything gently and holding it without effort. There is nothing to catch up on, nothing to hold, nothing to finish. If you ever find yourself here again on another quiet night, this space will still exist. The galaxies will still be turning slowly. These words will still be here, waiting patiently if you need them. You might remember the channel, or you might not. Either way is fine. There's no obligation to return. Rest always comes first. For now, the voice can become less important. It can drift farther into the background, like a sound from another room, until it's no longer something you're listening to, but just part of the night itself. The universe doesn't need commentary to continue. It doesn't need awareness. It simply goes on, gently, steadily, holding everything. There's nothing to do, nothing to hold, nothing to finish.